Hi viewers, you welcome back to my channel. Let's talk with purpose. It's all about positivity, it's all about sharing the light, and it's all about helping people discover their purpose. Now, if you're new to this channel, kindly do well to subscribe, to like, to share, and don't forget to drop a comment below. Okay, so we have an interesting topic to discuss today, and the topic is how to become your dream self. Today, how to become the ideal person today. Stay tuned and don't leave. Now, the topic of the day is how to become your dream self. How to become your ideal self. Number one, get a piece of paper and write it down. Write it all down. Who do you want to become in the next 5 to 10 years? Who does your ideal self want to be? How do you want to talk? How do you want to dress? How do you want to look? How do you even want to speak? Write it down. Pen it down. I feel that sometimes we go through life aimlessly because we don't know who we are, and we also don't even know what we want. So we end up accepting a little bit of anything that is being thrown at us. Meanwhile, our ideal self will not accept any of these things being thrown at us. If you are still sitting there having thoughts run through your mind without having them on paper, you still won't do anything. You can have an idea, but until you put them on paper, I believe it is not a goal. It is not even a dream. Now, the Bible makes us to understand in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 to 2. It says, make the vision plain. Write it down. Write out your vision. Put them down on a paper. In my personal experience, if I don't write stuff down and then I have the thoughts running through my head or in and out of my head, I feel overwhelmed. I don't know whether it gets me, but I just feel overwhelmed. When you sit down and then you start writing down the kind of person you'd want to be, that is when ideas start coming up. That is when things start coming to mind that you never even knew was up there. You never even knew that was your ideal self. At this point, you realize that things will just, start flowing naturally. And you would even be amazed. When they start flowing naturally, just allow yourself. Allow it all out and write it down. Now, after writing everything down, you organize them. Number two, after you've figured out, you figured out what your ideal self or your dream self wants to be, you now have to be intentional, really intentional about it, and intentional about your life. So at first, I was the kind of girl who would just flow with anything. Reason being that I did not know who I was and what I wanted. Someone said this: if you eat from anyone's table or at anyone's table, that is how you get sick. There are certain tables you should allow yourself to sit there, and there are certain tables you should say to yourself, I can't sit at this table. That doesn't mean you think or you feel you're too good to be at certain places or to sit at certain tables. But honestly, you should feel and you should think you're too good to be at certain places. Certain things don't deserve your energy. Certain people don't even deserve you. So at that point, you have to stand up and say it. You should know who you want, what you want, who you are at all times. And once you know all these, you can now start moving accordingly. Once you start moving accordingly, you start showing up as a person who attracts what he wants or she wants and needs. You'd also have to be intentional about the people you allow in your space. There are certain people who will find it so difficult to approach you. They will even feel you are out of their league. and that's fine. The energy you have around you, right, will determine the kind of people you will attract into your life. Be intentional about the friends you keep around you. One thing I wrote down as part of the person I want to be is that she doesn't curse. And I've realized that after writing them down and being intentional about it, I've gotten much better. I've seen improvements in my life to the extent that I don't want to be around people who curse anyhow. Because trust me then, before writing down who I want to be, I was that kind of person who just cursed people for no reason. And when I say cursing in the sense that just saying mean words, your big head, Ichwagbo, see his face, see her face, oh, you are not nice, you are ugly, like all those nasty stuff. You understand? They were not called for. So I said to myself, I want to change. The higher me don't want that, wouldn't want to be that. So I had to work on that. And since I became intentional about that, I've seen lots of improvement in me. If I'm around people who start cursing, start saying harsh words to people, I'm like, whoa, is this how people used to see me? And then say, oh, nice girl, see, her diction, her words, they are so harsh and rude. I was really feeling bad. Or I feel bad when I look at people or my friends, who curse just anyhow. You understand? So that was one thing I was so much intentional about. And I can say after writing down the kind of woman I want to be, that has been or is now a thing of the past. Now that I know clearly my purpose on earth, what God has called me to be, and what I want to be, I try to align whatever I do with what God wants me to be, with God's purpose for me. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes I want to do things my way, but hey, I have to go back to what I wrote down. Who is this lady? What do I want to be? What does my higher self want to be? Then I align myself. And as I'm aligning myself to what I want to be, I'm making sure it's being in alignment with what God wants me to be. Now, number 3, you want to start taking accountability for your action. It's always better to face the truth. And trust me, the truth shall set you free. I knew that my ideal self was more than that. My ideal self didn't like cursing, didn't like procrastinating. My ideal self always wants to be accountable. So I made a conscious effort to work on myself, to become better. To my last point, which is the 4th point, that's the limiting belief. You have to identify those limiting beliefs and let go of them. Now, one may ask, what are limiting beliefs? So let me just read it out. Limiting belief is a thought or a state of mind about yourself that restricts you in some way. These beliefs are often false accusations you make about yourself that can cause a number of negative results. Now that is a limiting belief. So I literally used to think I wasn't intelligent enough, and that was my limiting belief. It really worried me those days in school. When I finally came to a realization and then took a bold step by executing that negative thought from my mind, I started speaking positively about myself. I realized a great change in my life. I realized that I don't have what I want because I don't see myself having them. I would love to leave you all with this few notes. Number 1, figure out your limiting beliefs. Number 2, figure out what you want to be. Number 3, figure out what you want. Figure out the type of life you want to live. Be very detailed when writing these things down. You would need to write all that out and then start being intentional about them. Figure out what is stopping you from being the person you want to be. And trust me, by so doing, you would attract the things you want. I can tell you for sure and for a fact that it really works. That is all for today. Thank you so much for staying till the end. I am sure you're blessed by this video. Please and please again, do well to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like, share, and don't forget to drop a comment below. Till we meet again in our next episode, it is bye.